She hadn't seen her best friend in 3 days. But when the mahogany casket closed, she knew she'd been played. Not by death, by the woman inside it. The church doors swung open. 200 people turned, and the man in the expensive suit walked in holding her hand. That's when the lawyer smiled. The woman in the casket was 8 months pregnant when she died. The baby survived. The husband didn't cry. And the blonde woman on his arm? She wasn't family. No one knew what was about to happen. Not the mother in the third row, clutching a tissue. Not the priest, frozen at the pulpit. Not even the lawyer, standing quietly in the corner with an envelope no one had been told about. But someone had planned for this moment. Someone who knew exactly what kind of man walks into his wife's funeral with the woman he'd been sleeping with for months. That was the moment everything began to unravel. This is a Tales of the Fireplace story, for anyone who's ever been treated like they were less than they are. If you're new here, take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, do you believe someone can plan their own justice from beyond the grave? Her name was Rachel. She was the kind of woman people overlooked. Soft-spoken, elementary school teacher. The type who made worksheets about butterflies and brought cookies to parent-teacher nights. She grew up in a trailer park in Tennessee. Her mother worked double shifts at a roadside diner so Rachel could go to college. She graduated top of her class. Full scholarship. 3 jobs to pay for books. And then she met him. Marcus. He was everything she wasn't. Old money. Connecticut family. The kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. He failed his economics class. She tutored him. He showed up late, looked at her like she was hired help, then changed his approach. Flowers. Coffee. Notes. He told her, "I'll never be like those people. I love you for who you are." She believed him. They married at his family's country club. She made her own wedding dress because his mother refused to pay for one. She overheard her say it. Trailer trash doesn't deserve Vera Wong. She should have left then. But she loved him. The friend's name was Claire. She'd known Rachel since they were 7. 25 years of secrets, late-night calls, Sunday brunches. She was the one who caught Rachel's mother when she collapsed at the funeral. Claire had seen the cracks in the marriage. The gambling debt Marcus hid. The $50,000 Rachel paid off with her grandmother's inheritance. The nights he came home late smelling like someone else. But she never imagined this. Standing in that church, watching Marcus walk down the aisle with her. Jessica, the 28-year-old blonde from his office. Claire felt something cold settle in her chest. Rachel had called her 3 days before she died. She'd said, "Make sure everyone's watching, Claire." Every last one of them. At the time, Claire thought it was the medication talking. Now, she wasn't so sure. The lawyer's name was Thomas Whitmore. Silver hair. Expensive suit. He'd known Rachel's mother for years. Worked a case near her diner decades ago. Rachel had called him when she started her little side business selling teaching materials online. Or so everyone thought. He stood at the pulpit now, holding an envelope. The priest stepped aside. "Ladies and gentlemen," Whitmore said, his voice filling the church. "Before we proceed, I've been instructed by Rachel Morrison to read her last will and testament here today." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Marcus looked up from his phone, irritated, like this was an inconvenience. Jessica's nails dug into his arm. Whitmore opened the envelope slowly. "To my daughter, Hope Elizabeth Morrison." People leaned forward. "I leave all shares in EDU Spark Digital, a company I founded and built over the last 6 years." Silence. At the time of my passing, EDU Spark Digital was valued at $47 million. The church exploded. Marcus shot to his feet. "That's not possible. She sold worksheets online. She made maybe $200 a month." Whitmore looked at him the way a teacher looks at a failing student. Mrs. Morrison was the sole owner and CEO of EDU Spark Digital, the largest independent teacher resource platform in the United States. The company was founded before your marriage, structured in a trust you had no access to. He paused. "You weren't aware because she chose not to tell you." Marcus's face went white. Jessica's hand trembled. And then the screen behind the casket lowered. Rachel's face filled the screen. She was thin, pale, filmed from her hospice bed days before she died. But her eyes were sharp. "Hello, Marcus." Her voice echoed through the church. "Jessica, Diana." Diana, Marcus's mother, stiffened in her seat. "If you're watching this, it means I'm gone. And you're probably feeling very pleased with yourselves." Rachel smiled. "Surprised about the money, of course. But you're already thinking you'll figure it out." You'll get custody of Hope. Control the trust. Find a loophole. She leaned closer to the camera. You think you've won. A long pause. You have no idea what's coming. The church was dead silent. Jessica, I want to thank you. When I found out about the affair, I cried for 3 days. But then I got angry. And then I got smart. DNA test results flashed on the screen. Marcus, Hope isn't your daughter. Chaos. Screaming. Gasping. Phones out. I had an affair too. 3 years ago. After your first gambling debt. The DNA results are attached to my will, witnessed, and notarized. You have no biological claim to Hope. No parental rights. No custody. Marcus looked like he'd been shot. Now, Diana. The older woman froze. I believe you've been poisoning me. The tea you brought to the hospital every day. I saved the last cup. It's being held as evidence. Full chain of custody. Rachel's eyes didn't blink. I also saved blood and hair samples. The lab results should show thallium, a heavy metal that mimics infection. Detective Sarah Brennan moved through the crowd, badge in hand. Diana tried to stand. Brennan blocked her. And Marcus, let's talk about the $2.3 million you owe to some very unpleasant people in Atlantic City, and the embezzlement at your firm to cover it. Bank records flooded the screen. I've sent everything to the SEC, the FBI, the IRS, and your ethics board. By Monday, you'll lose your license. By Friday, you'll be in handcuffs. Marcus was shaking. Oh, and Jessica? Jessica's face crumbled. I know you've been selling Marcus's insider secrets to his business rival. I have the emails, the Venmo payments, the texts where you called him a useful idiot. Marcus spun toward her. You were working for Greg? Jessica's voice cracked. I was protecting myself. You were selling my information. They screamed at each other in front of 200 people. Rachel's voice cut through. Never underestimate a quiet woman. Still waters run deep. Sometimes they're hiding a tsunami. The screen went black. The police arrived in minutes. Diana was arrested for attempted murder. Her screams echoed off the vaulted ceilings as they cuffed her. Marcus was served federal subpoenas before he left the church. SEC, FBI, IRS. His firm fired him by end of business. Assets frozen. Jessica was arrested on 17 counts of insider trading. Claire stood in the third row, holding Rachel's mother, Betty, as the woman sobbed into her shoulder. The lawyer found her after the crowd thinned. There's someone who'd like to meet you, Whitmore said quietly. His name was Greg Holloway, 40 years old, successful businessman, kind eyes. They met at a quiet cafe 3 days later. I loved her, he said, hands wrapped around a coffee cup. We only had 3 months together. But I loved her. He showed Claire a photo. Rachel on a beach, laughing, hair in the wind. Happier than Claire had seen her in years. I didn't know about Hope, Greg said. Not until the funeral. Rachel never told me she was pregnant. His voice cracked. I want to be part of her life. Not because of the money. Because she's my daughter. And loving her is the only way I have left to love her mother. Claire studied him. This was the man Rachel had chosen. Hope needs a father, Claire said slowly. Can you be that person? Yes, he said. No hesitation. I promise you. A year passed. Hope thrived. Claire became her legal guardian. Greg moved into an apartment 2 floors above hers. Close, but not crowding. EDU Spark grew to 80 million. Betty retired from the diner. Finally, life moved forward. And then the letter arrived. Claire, this isn't over. My lawyers are looking into the DNA evidence. Something doesn't add up. As soon as I prove Hope is my daughter, I'm coming for custody. For the trust. For everything Rachel stole from me. See you in court. Marcus. Claire should have been afraid. A year ago, she would have panicked. But she'd spent 12 months learning to think like Rachel. She opened her desk drawer. Inside was a folder she'd never touched. Labeled in Rachel's handwriting. Phase 2. If he threatens Hope. Open only if necessary. Claire broke the seal. Documents. Photos. Audio recordings. A USB drive marked insurance. And a handwritten note. Claire, if you're reading this, Marcus is still fighting. Some men never learn. Phase 1 was the funeral. The public revelations. His arrest. I hoped that would be enough. But I knew him. Better than he knows himself. That's why I prepared Phase 2. He has no idea what I discovered during those 6 years. What I saved. What I held back. Finish him, Claire. Do it for me. For Hope. And for every woman who was ever told she was nothing without the man tearing her apart. Love always. Rachel. P.S. Tell Hope her mama says hi. Tell Marcus, Checkmate. Claire sat alone in her office. The city stretched out beyond her window. Millions of lives. Millions of stories. Somewhere in federal custody, Marcus thought he still had control. He was wrong. Rachel had made sure of that. Claire picked up her phone. "Tom," she said. "It's Claire." He sent the letter. A pause. "I know." Rachel was ready. She looked at the folder. Set phase 2 in motion. If this story reminds you of someone you lost, or almost lost, share it with them. Hope's first birthday was small. Perfect. Pink balloons. A crooked banner Lily, Claire's daughter, had made. Just a handful of people. The ones who mattered. Betty, Greg, Tom Whitmore. Claire wheeled in a small TV. Rachel left videos, she said quietly. One for every birthday. Every milestone. She pressed play. Rachel's face filled the screen. She'd put on lipstick, fixed her hair, tried to look like herself. "My darling Hope," she said, voice soft but steady. "Happy first birthday, baby girl." She smiled. "If you're watching this, it means I'm not there. I'm so sorry. I fought so hard. But some battles can't be won, not the way we want." Her eyes shone. "Everything I did for you. I didn't build a company for money or success. I built it to protect you, so you'd never depend on anyone to survive. So when you choose to let people into your heart, it's because you want them, not because you have no choice." She took a breath. "Be brave, Hope. Be kind. Be smart. Love with all your heart, but never so much you lose who you are." Rachel leaned closer. "And never let anyone tell you you're nothing without them." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You are everything. I will love you forever, no matter what. Happy birthday, sweetheart." The screen went dark. The room was silent except for crying. Betty held a tissue to her face, shoulders shaking. Greg hugged Hope tightly, tears on his cheeks. Even Tom Whitmore wiped his eyes. Lily buried her face in Claire's side. "She's not really gone, is she, Mama?" Claire pulled her close. "No, baby. As long as Hope has these videos, she's not gone at all. Thank you for spending this time with Tales of the Fireplace. If this story moved you, like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter." Rachel Morrison taught us something powerful that day. Never underestimate a quiet woman. Never mistake silence for weakness. And never believe that money and status can shield you from the consequences of your own cruelty. Justice is patient, but she never forgets. What part of this story stayed with you the most? Tell me in the comments below.